So he goes to the facilities. Some of them had already been closed for some time. Minnesota officials say that each of the facilities that he visited had been visited at least once in the last 6 months. And so far, they found no evidence of fraud. So shouldn't he have to provide actual evidence of fraud before just walking up to a building and saying, fraud is happening here?
Who is he? Like, who gave this guy license to go around and say, I couldn't get into daycare centers, the doors were locked? Like, nobody should be able to walk into a daycare center because the doors are locked. These random vigilante justice, something that people in this country know a lot about, these random vigilante justice seekers who ordain themselves like some sort of law enforcement expert, like he's a random YouTuber. And I just find it laughable that the party of the self-proclaimed pro-life people are celebrating cutting off funding to children. The white evangelical crowd who purports to uphold these Christian values are celebrating targeting communities because of their ethnicity and cutting off care to children. It's utterly ridiculous. And I have to say, only a deplorable human being cannot decisively say it is wrong to target this community. We all heard what Donald Trump said from the White House. To pretend that this is some sort of opinion versus this opinion. No, we hear this right now. And so we have to call these things out with outrage, with righteous indignation that this type of thing, one day it's the Somali community, the next day it's another community. What is hard about saying this is awful? What is hard about saying we should all care about children?
And it's not just racist and xenophobic. It's actually dangerous because what Donald Trump is doing in targeting this community, it's putting American citizens in danger because it is putting a target on their back. But there's something else that I think is really disturbing. To your point about who this YouTuber is, and that all of a sudden, because he made this video that has gone viral, now DHS and FBI are putting resources into this community all of a sudden?
Well, they're not. I mean, because they actually had already. Well, that's the thing. I mean, those videos that we were showing, those are performative.
They're pretending like they just found
this
out.
They're walking into a deli and asking questions and then saying, have a nice day. That's not how you investigate fraud.
Correct.
Actually, to the credit of DOJ, they have been investigating fraud. They have been prosecuting people the way that you actually prosecute people, not sending people to.
Wow. All right, folks. So, of course, that was rotten mouth, pancake face leftist Tiffany Cross. That was who was doing the rant, okay, on this panel of CNN pundits. She had her own show on MSNBC and got axed because her mouth was too foul for even the likes of MSNBC. So she and the rest of that panel there gave a lot of misinformation. Tonight, we are going to break it down for you all. Why this is important, why Nick Shirley is not xenophobic, is not racist, and there's more to come, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
All right, Shirley E. And back with us tonight, Yana is back with us.
Hello, Happy New Year.
And special guest co-host, Crystal Beyond Labels. How are you doing?
Happy New Year. I'm doing well. Happy New Year, everyone.
All right. So, folks, we got a great lineup for you tonight. We did this because we specifically want to unpack the lies that the mainstream media is telling about this Somali fraud. All right. So before we light this fire, do your part. Tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We are live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. want to start off with you tonight, Shirley, because you have really been following the mainstream media, particularly Tiffany Cross, and the rants that she has given over the last several days about Nick Shirley's investigations. So please, what do you think about what she said and the things that she said in that exchange?
What I think is that Tiffany is full of shit. That's what Tiffany is. Tiffany is carrying the pancake batter for the left. That's what she's doing. And she's trying to make a whole lot of pancakes, and it's not adding up. It's not even working. Let me tell you why Tiffany, Nick Shirley, and any other American can go into a facility or pull the records, if you will, because we are Americans, because it's our taxpayer money. These people have gotten me so vexed, okay? I'm going to try to sound sophisticated. They have gotten me so vexed that I am ready to spit. And I hate spitting, but I'm ready to spit. These people are carrying the water for the left. They don't like, no, let me take that back. They hate America. They hate our country. They want us to be like the shitholes many of these people came from. And I don't care if these people happen to be mostly or majority Somalian or any other ethnicity. When they are on our soil, this is our house. We defend it, okay? At the fake daycares, at any other facility that is collecting a taxpayer-funded check any kind of way. We're going to get to the rest of it, but these people have gotten me really pissed off.
Yeah. Nicole, I mean, you heard them saying Nick Shirley is a random YouTuber. How dare he start his own investigation? What are your thoughts on this?
He's a taxpayer. He should be investigating. All of us should be investigating. See, there's this thing that they don't believe in. It's called the American spirit. They don't have any of it, so they don't quite understand how it works. But as an American, when things don't make sense to you, you have the right to figure it out. You don't have to wait to be assigned your thought by the government. That's what they would like. They would like for someone at the government, preferably a Democrat, possibly Chuck Schumer or AOC, to say, nothing to see here, folks. It was just a couple of people. We made some arrests. Move on with your life. And that be the end of it. That's not how it works here in the United States. We have people that will take you down a rabbit hole that makes no sense. And those people have tens of millions of followers because it's who we are at our core. Americans are nosy. We like to figure out what's going on. And when it comes to our money, we have the right to be nosy. She would feel the same way if any of this had affected her personally. I don't think what the Democrats have thrown against the wall lately, none of their talking points have stuck. And I think she's probably the last guard for them of trying to figure out what they can say to the American people to kind of spin this a little bit. It's not working. The gaslighting is not working. Fraud is fraud. And it doesn't matter if you're a Somali or a cheese sandwich. Americans don't like it.
Yeah. Yana, I mean, you heard the CNN pundit says we're being racist and xenophobic for calling this out. What's going on?
Well, what I hear when she's talking, she sounds like the communist establishment that is angry. They're so angry that this independent person dared to investigate this communist fraud. That's what it sounds like. She would be happy to send some agents to arrest Nick Shirley for, uncovering something. Like, that's what happens in totalitarian countries where people are not allowed to go and investigate what the establishment is doing. And she really sounds like that totalitarian establishment that I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Crystal, you heard what they said. Now they try to throw the Christians into it. Okay. So she's saying that the right claims to care about children and are stripping childcare institutions of their money. What happened to Christian values? Now they want to get, now they're Christian. What are your thoughts on that?
I love how people like to use God conveniently. We like to conveniently use God. But you see, when you actually know the word of God, it says in Luke 16 and 10, 11, this is where the Lord says, if you are faithful with a little, then I can give you much. Mm-hmm. So us just giving our taxpayer money away and it's going into all kinds of fraud and we just sit by and do nothing, then we are not being faithful with the little the Lord has blessed us with. So because we have wisdom and discernment, we are going to shut it off. And that is what President Trump and his administration said. This is not about the child care like they want to play, because there's a lot of people in Minnesota, in fact, who have children and they are dealing with learning disabilities and all different types of things, and they're not getting that funding. But somehow the other, these Somalians are getting beautiful houses and everything else, allegedly, that we have discovered. So I don't want to hear anybody, especially Miss Tiffany Cross, talking about righteous indignation. I don't even think she knows what that word means. Please sit down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, folks, I want to make sure we understand what's going on here. So, there's the Feeding Our Future child nutrition fraud that is going through litigation and investigation now. Okay. And then there's Nick Shirley, who is a YouTuber, who has independently documented daycare and childcare subsidy fraud in Minnesota. All right. So they're two different programs, or different programs. I should say it's more than two, actually, but they share the same corrupt ecosystem. All right. And so before Nick Shirley uncovered this, there was a gentleman by the name of for News Nation covering it back before, I think it was before 2000. What was his name? Rich McHugh. And he is in this next clip. Before we get to it, I know we have some super chatters, Shirley.
All right, people. Thank you for stopping by tonight. Happy New Year, everybody. We had Raw Truth. Thank you for your $50 super chat saying, I love you, ladies, and we love you right back. Thank you so much for that $50 donation. Wendy, Happy New Year. You're back. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Wendy is saying, Happy New Year, fabulous ladies. And right back at you, Wendy. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, KJ, back to you.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yes. Thank you all so much. As you come in, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience here on YouTube, and we appreciate the support. Okay. So as I was mentioning, I want you guys to take a look at this next clip. Again, there was a gentleman by the name of Rich McHugh. He's a News Nation reporter. He has been reporting on this, starting with the Feeding Our Future fraud for many years now. And so he's breaking this down, talking about, despite being currently under indictment for defrauding the state of millions, of course, Minnesota, they're still paying the owners of these assisted livings and things like that. They're still paying them millions of dollars a year. This is clip 2. Take a look.
This may look like your typical single-family home, but it bills itself as an assisted living facility, and it receives a lot of taxpayer money. Here in Minnesota, the number of people getting help in assisted living facilities is up, double the growth of other programs. But here's the kicker. The rate of payment in this assisted living space is 10 to 15 times the growth in other programs. Hi. So we pulled the data on assisted living facilities in the Minneapolis area. Minneapolis, as you might expect, has a lot, 169. St. Paul, with a population of 307,000, has 83. But Brooklyn Center, 30,000 population, has 106. And Brooklyn Park, population of 84,000, has 181, more than Minneapolis, a city 5 times its size. But this assisted living facility puts this all in perspective. It's owned by a man indicted for laundering $1 million in the Feeding Our Future scam. He's Gandhi Mohammed, now Gandhi Abdi Kadai, and his LLC owns the homes. His wife runs the assisted living facilities, and the state is continuing to pay as he awaits his trial. Okay. We went to each of them.
We're curious because the man who owns this building was indicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. Did you know that?
No.
Don't know that?
No. You did what?
Do you know the Feeding Our Future scandal? The scam that was, there's all these indictments related to false, billing on feeding children.
No, that's not true.
That it's not true?
It's not true. The way I know this, no.
These assisted living facilities received over $2.3 million in state money last year alone. A Minnesota Reformer article says he has been paid a whopping $49 million since 2016.
How is it possible that this person who's been indicted in Feeding Our Future
also is still collecting checks from the state, running these assisted living centers with his wife?
I honestly have no idea. It seems like the most basic due diligence would have been to run a check of all the people indicted in Feeding Our Future and then make sure they're not getting paid from other state programs. And at least in this case, and I've heard perhaps in others, they didn't do that.
State Representative Kristen Robbins is the chair of the House Fraud and Oversight Committee here.
So this person owns assisted living facilities, and his wife runs the service provider part of it. So he owns the property. One of the properties was purchased with the same shell company he used to money launder in Feeding Our Future. And now that same shell company has been used to buy a new assisted living facility property. It's unconscionable that they haven't done the most basic due diligence to cross-check that Feeding Our Future defendants aren't getting additional state money.
Okay, so let's connect the dots, folks, because the media won't. That was Rich McHugh from News Nation. Now, he has been investigating this story since, I think, 2000. Okay, no, 2015. 20. It's about 2015, 2020, right? He exposed how hundreds of millions meant to feed kids in Minnesota were stolen through fake nonprofits and phantom meal sites. Red flags were raised. DHS knew. The money went out anyway until the FBI stepped in. At the same time, Nick Shirley has been exposing daycare and child care subsidy fraud in that same state. Fake enrollments, rubber stamped approvals, and zero oversight. So again, these are different programs, same agency, same failures. COVID didn't create this corruption. It supercharged it. Emergency rules, no enforcement, and blind trust in these nonprofits turned taxpayer dollars into an all-you-can-eat buffet. Okay, and so that guy, McHugh, proved the fraud happened, and Nick Shirley proved it wasn't isolated. Now, you got to get this. This isn't about race or politics. It's about one-party rule, no accountability, and a government that stopped protecting taxpayers. Now, Shirley, we talked about this earlier. Folks, every hardworking taxpayer should be furious about this. We're out here working 2-3 jobs, making pennies, and you got these Somalis out here making millions of dollars from our hard-earned money. And you got Tiffany Cross on CNN along with that fat-tongued Abby Phillips saying there's no there. You guys are racist. No, we're tired of our hard-earned money being taken for granted. Shirley, what are your thoughts there?
Absolutely. Let me say this, KJ. So I want people to understand as well. These programs, Nick Shirley and this guy, forget Rich, someone, this is Minnesota, but multiply that times 50 times innumerable, at least 135, I think I told you the other day, government programs. These funds or these programs, if you will, when you qualify for one, 9 times out of 10, you can easily qualify for others, many others. In fact, qualifying particularly for Medicare and Medicaid in any shape or fashion will allow you or make you automatically eligible for a myriad of other programs. Now, that's again in Minnesota, and multiply that times 50 times however many programs there are from the federal government, not to mention the state funds. And again, if I've said it once, I've said it twice and many times. Because you hear the word state funds or federal funds, don't get caught up in that. It's all taxpayer money. Okay, it's all our money. And this is why it becomes so easy and fungible for them to move around. Because you know why? Taxpayer funds, that's all of us on here, myself, many of you, if not all of you in the chat room, if you will. Taxpayer funds are an endless supply of money for these bureaucrats, these politicians to dole out, to get kickbacks from whatever community they want, they see fit. This is why, if you have never made a phone call, a letter, or a visit to your local, state, and or federal representative in whatever, you need to do so this weekend. That needs to be at the top of your agenda. You need to flood the lines or whatever, the snail mail, whatever. You need to contact your congressman. I don't care if it's a D or an R. You need to be doing something.
Yeah. And folks, as you come in, please hit the like button, because we are a small channel, but not a lot of people are talking about this. And so as you hit the like button, it helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. Also, we have special guests on with us, Crystal from Beyond Labels. She has her YouTube channel, Crystal Beyond Labels. Check her out on there and subscribe. Nicole, you have been sounding off about this, not just in Minnesota, but you have been saying this is something widespread. We know in California, Maine, and who else? Maybe Maryland. What's going on? Right.
It's coming. It's definitely coming. You know, what we've noticed is COVID gave license to a lot of people to steal. So when people saying you're being xenophobic, you're being racist against Somalis, California went after the Armenians when they were putting skimmers on EBT cards. They did that at the height of COVID. Then, of course, we had one Italian guy that was black market selling things in California. So it's not about the race. It's about the fraud. And fraud is easy to do against the American people, mostly because we have very little oversight because taxpayer money never runs out. Perfect example here in Maryland, when they run out of taxpayer money, do we stop spending? No. Do we cut back on programs? No. Maybe do we not have as many state workers? Absolutely not. You know what they do? They artificially inflate the cost of your property so they can tax you more. They raise fees. It's an endless supply of money. So what if somebody steals $250 million and people go, man, we should lock some people up, and maybe 50 people get locked up. But hear this, $50,000 at a minimum that we know so far of the money that was stolen through that Feed Our Children's Future or whatever the heck that was, went directly to the DNC. Exactly. So the Somalis who were stealing our money, the Somalis that we brought here under grace, under human dignity, because things were not going great in their country. There's a civil war and people were dying and starving and all of these things. We brought them here temporarily. Hear that? Temporarily, to give them some respite. In the process of bringing them here temporarily, they figured out how to game our system. And not only game our system, but they continue to make sure that the people who allowed them to game the system were elected over and over and over again. This is how easy it is to exploit us. So we should be learning two lessons from this. Number one, too much immigration. That should be our top number one thing. Way too many of them, not enough people checking. Number two, we have to have more oversight, and not in a way where Congress just holds a conference and somebody asks the tough questions and gets a couple of clicks from it. I'm talking about real oversight where people get locked up for real jail time, where we go back and we take all of their belongings and sell it off to give back the American taxpayer their money. There has to be real teeth, and someone has to be made an example of. I strongly suggest Tim Walz. If anybody could bring this thing from a fever pitch down to a dull roar, it would be putting handcuffs on him and standing his fat butt up in front of a judge. That would give the American people just a little bit of calm down. But right now, everybody's angry. It's everybody's money, not just DNR money. There's independents who are complaining. Imagine being a new person in Minnesota, young family, and you're struggling to make ends meet, and you see these Somalis popping up places around you, driving fancy cars. What do you think? This nation doesn't care about our own youth. That's what you think, that we don't have it to do for our own people, but we roll out the red carpet for foreigners. That is what they're thinking. So we definitely have to fix this in a long-term kind of way, not just the short term.
Yeah. Yana, and you brought up a very good point about how this is part of the communist agenda, the Marxist agenda. Can you expand on that? Because we've seen, why are they bringing in foreigners to expand on this agenda? And then how does it connect with Islam? Because someone mentioned in the chat, they said it's not communist, it's Islamic agenda. What are your thoughts there?
Well, part of it is Islamic agenda as well. But actually, what's interesting, Somalia in itself has gone through a lot of periods, historic periods, and they have been communist also. A lot of Islam people of Somali descent have been educated in Marxism, so they do come from that background also. And I mean, what I mean is that this whole redistribution of wealth, of resources, and that's what happens in a communist state, is when you have money coming in from one place and then the bureaucrats are using it. Whoever knows the system, whoever's in the system, they are benefiting. But then the people who are not, I guess, they don't understand what's happening, they're not receiving the benefits, the so-called social benefits that supposed to be coming from the socialist system. Because what's happening, it's a socialist system where they say, well, we need to provide subsidized care for children, for seniors, for disabled people. And so that's the communist system, is that basically the government's supposed to provide for that, and people vote for these programs that, oh, this is going to be great and our community is going to benefit. And then who is benefiting? People who are moving the money around. Those are the ones who are benefiting, not the actual people who need, maybe people who are low income. They're probably on wait list for daycare, even though there's like thousands of daycare programs supposedly available, but they're not accepting any children because they're just taking in the money and sending it to Somalia, honestly, because I've seen these reports where Somali people actually put millions of dollars in suitcases and taking them to Somalia. They live in palaces over there.
Wow.
That it's a national security issue. And I don't know if you, well, and also of course, I don't know if you've seen reports that these Somali daycares, these Somali so-called businesses are donating money to Democratic candidates in their districts, in their city, in their state, and they're donating to people who know about this whole scheme, and they're going to keep the scheme going. And that's the Marxist. That's what happens when you set up socialism. It's only those who are in the know are the ones who are benefiting.
Right.
Absolutely.
And we have some people in the chat talking about how, Islam does not align with Marxism. And some of these people are Christian as well. I want to ask you to speak to that, Crystal. I have some thoughts on that, but what do you think about that comment?
I don't agree with that comment at all.
Mhm.
The Lord said in the word, a man that does not work does not eat. So that right there negates that entire statement right there. No, Christians don't move in that type of mindset. Let's start off with that. We do not move in that type of mindset. And I think a lot of people are not paying attention to what is going on. When we go back to what Tiffany was saying about how this is racist and xenophobic and all these things, and the thing is, as all the ladies here have said on the panel, it's about Americans. It's about protecting America. There's a scripture that comes to mind right now, which is 1 Timothy 5:8, and it says, "But those who won't care for their relatives, especially those in their own household, have denied the true faith, and such people are worse than unbelievers." And I know people will listen to it and be like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" You have to take care of home first. America is our home. We have to take care of us, our people, before anybody else gets anything out of us. And right now, these people are stealing from us, taking it back to their own country. Again, they are trying to push that communist socialist mindset into America, and so many people are sleeping, and people don't understand. That was the point of Nick's video. It wasn't for people. They're talking about vigilante and justice. He wasn't trying to do vigilante or justice. He was trying to open up the eyes of so many blind Americans, because there's so many out here that sit here and say these things aren't true. We could speak all day and say this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, but when you actually get to see it for yourself, then all of a sudden it's like, wait, hold on, there's so many people I see coming out and saying, wait, they're really taking our money. wait, what are they really doing to us? Now people are starting to open their eyes, because no, this is not about race. This is not about ethnicity. This is not xenophobia. This is about America. And again, what kind of America do you want for your family, for your future? Do you want a communistic, Islamic hold over your country, or do you want to remain the great nation that we are, that are founded on Christian values? Right. All day long, Christian values.
Yeah. And let me just say this, okay? This is not about Muslims as a people, okay? This is about ideological overlap, okay? Marxism views Christianity as an obstacle to revolution. Similarly, Islamist movements view Christianity as theologically false and politically threatening, okay? Collectivism over individual liberty. We know Islam prioritizes submission to a religious law, Sharia. Marxism prioritizes submission to state ideology. Now, we just literally saw was Mandami, Zoran Mandami gave a speech as he was being made the mayor of New York City, and he talked about the warm collectivism versus the cold individual, something along those lines. This is in its essence what we're talking about. You know, this is both systems. What I'm talking about, this Islam and Marxism, limit individual freedom. They merge belief in governance and enforce conformity, folks.
Absolutely.
You can look at Mondami, and he says it out of his own mouth. All right. Christianity does the direct opposite. Okay. We see within Christianity, it teaches what was it? Delgado. I forget the name in was it Latin or Greek, but every person has God-given dignity and moral agency. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So we can't, it's nothing. And we also know that Karl Marx hated Christians. He was a Satanist, but he aligned more so with Islam. That's in history. Look it up. All right. So, you know, Shirley, I know you have some super chats.
Oh yeah, we have a few super chatters here. I want to jump right in here. It's, Star Wars, thank you for your $5 super chat. Says Happy New Year to one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Love what you do and your content. Thank you, Star Wars. Laura, thank you. Happy New Year for your $5 super chat. Happy New Year's 2026. Pop in politics. Yes, thank you. Star Wars is back again with a $10 super chat, and we so appreciate it. Did you all see the Somali woman was live talking about Elon Musk was going to die? He responded with, "This is war." She started trying to backtrack. Elon was definitely holding her accountable. Absolutely. Thank you, Star Wars. We also have coming up round one, Kung Fu CJ with your $2 super chat. Thank you. He said, oh hell, KJ is upset. Get out of the way.
Because I'm like, these people are out here living like millionaires. Right. Out here scraping our pennies. You know, it's just like working hard to make money for our families. And you got these people defrauding the system, and
it's infuriating.
Absolutely,
it makes you crazy.
The original Batner, thank you for your $2 super chat. Too white for Coke, I love it. $5 super chat, thank you. I know damn good and well if Donald Trump can get arrested on some BS Tampon Tim and Ilhan Omar can be arrested. Right. That's a good point. Red Bucks, thank you for your $5 super sticker. Thank you for your support. Star Wars is back again with a $10 super chat. Here is some food for thought. My pastor brought up a really good point about the greatest civilizations lasted about 20 to 300 years before they started to fall. And the U.S. is no different. Well, Star Wars, maybe that might be the case. I don't know, but we're going to go down fighting. Okay. Thank you for your $2 super chat again. He says he meant between 200 and 300 years. Absolutely. Thank you. Love USA 12 for your $10 super chat. Totally well said. Love these ladies. Thank you all so much. Look, we have over 1,200 people watching, and we need you all to hit that like, that share, the subscribe button. Keep your comments coming. Again, super chats are going to be read aloud on the show, but we thank you for your support, but keep it coming. Hit that button right now. Get the lights up, everybody. While I had this moment, I want to say this. Many people are asking, how does this fraud go unchecked for so long? Where are the audits, things like that? Well, I'll tell you what. Audits may happen. I'm saying may. They may happen. They may happen in a fiscal year. They may happen every other or every third year. But the point is that the audits are too infrequent. Okay, they are. The government is too big. The programs are not just replicated. I mean, they're just duplicated, replicated, triplicated all over the country. So no person, even the agency that's supposed to audit, they can't do it. So this is a system that's really set up for the fraudsters, if you will. They're going to make out. And by the time they are detected, they've already gone, millions and billions of dollars with the fraud. We're never going to get back. So it's like almost like a cat and mouse kind of game, if you will. So the audits, you need the audits, I guess, by law. You should have them. But the one thing we need to do is cut them down to size. Cut the programs down, period. Number one, get rid of all of the duplication and triplication from state to state and certainly all through the country. Get rid of that. And just because you qualify for one program does not mean you should automatically qualify for however many other ones, not to mention the nonprofits or NGOs that government sets up and funds through the back door. So there's so many ways. It's too big. It's too big. Cut it down to size. We need not just a doge. We need, I'm calling a bulldog, a bulldozer doge, because we have too much government muck and mire. I'll say that.
Yeah. And folks, so as we are calling this out, as Nick Shirley has been calling this out and taking you right to the scenes in Minnesota of this fraud, you have mainstream pundits who are now trying to shine a light on Nick Shirley and somehow make him look bad. And it's crazy. So instead of them saying, well, whoa, let's dig into this, instead of them doing that, they're trying to disparage Nick Shirley. Take a look here. This is clip 3.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you? This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare.
There should be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked. And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars? We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are a legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos, purporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside?
Minnesota Republican.
God, What kind of questions are that? Are you sure? Are you 100% sure you're true? You're true. I mean, what is she? She is trying to discredit him. First, you saw in the expose, they call him a MAGA YouTuber. MAGA YouTuber. Are we MAGA YouTubers? I mean, this is so stupid. Then she says, did you come during normal operating hours? Woman, they did not even open the door. Okay. They have the door is blacked out. All right. She said, surely you don't think you should be able to walk into a daycare. No one answered. What are you talking about? This is so one-sided. Nicole,
she was hostile. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Yana.
No, she was so hostile. That was so infuriating to watch how hostile this woman was towards an independent journalist. Like, she does not hold the authority to all journalism. And also, this is ridiculous. Has she been to any daycares? I have gone to work at daycares. You can ring the bell and they will open. They have a reception. You can ask a question. You can come and take a tour. Right. Like, this is crazy that she's trying to say, well, all daycares are locked. Okay, yeah, really. They're locked, so you cannot, nobody ever answers a daycare. That would be really creepy. That if there's a child inside and no one even answers the door, what if I'm in the inspector and I need to inspect the place and they wouldn't even open the door? That's ridiculous. And I mean, she was extremely hostile. It was very, very infuriating.
Absolutely. But her job is to discredit him, right? What's going on there, Nicole?
Her job should be that of a fact finder, right? She was not looking for facts. She was looking for something to bolster her opinion. This is the problem that we have with the mainstream media. They're not looking for truth. They're looking to be right. That's a completely different thing than reporting the news. That's why I call them entertainment. I mean, if I'm forced to watch CNN, I hold my hand over my ears so my brain cells can't get out, right? I mean, it's mind-numbingly stupid, the questions that they ask, even when they're talking to one another. It's like, I'm going to pat you on the back. No, I'm going to pat you on the back. Okay, you pat me on the back. It is absolutely mind-numbingly dumb to watch these people. But I love the way he answered her questions. He talked to her like she was the village idiot. He was like, well, yeah, I came at 11. That's probably normal. And then I came the next day, like 3, well within business hours. I want to know what daycare center takes in millions of dollars but doesn't have a camera or a bell. There are home daycares that got a ring doorbell. You ring the doorbell and they're like, hey. And what kind of daycare center would they be if they locked up a few adults in a blacked out building with no way for people from the outside to get in with a bunch of small children? I mean, it seems like to me that would be a person who lusts after children's wet dream to have that particular daycare job where you're just locked in there and no other adult can come and see or listen to what you're doing. Absolute foolishness. And the fact that they couldn't spell learning, that was a whole case in and of itself. You're going to drop your kid off at a daycare. You've picked this one out of, I guess, thin air because apparently they don't allow you to ask questions, take a tour, fill in the application to have your child go there. But you look up and it says Leering. This is the Leering Center, not learning, Leering. You mean nobody from the state of Minnesota noticed that area? No one? No auditor walked up and said, you got a little problem with your sign. And for $2.5 million, I need you to damn fix it, right? Get a real sign, take the stuff off the door, get you some security, but only after Nick's video went viral. Then suddenly phones are working again. Then suddenly there are people walking around with children. And I told you guys they were going to bust some kids in from somewhere to try to make this look legitimate. But America's not falling for it. And I'm thankful to God that most Americans have been kind of overrun with where's our money going? You know, it's funny that the Democrats started this affordability crisis saying, well, we can't afford anything. You can't afford to be young. You can't afford. And now we know the reason why, because all of our money, instead of building our nation, is being handed out like Pez to damn Somalians who are running fake daycare centers and fake home health. And I don't think it's just Minnesota. Again, I think a lot of these blue states are at this moment shredding documents, boistering up business that are sketchy. I think there's going to be a lot of states that have to answer for this federal money.
Yeah, absolutely. And Crystal, you said that this this daycare is actually a restaurant as well.
Yes. So I was watching another YouTuber earlier, and I had to go look it up myself. And just so y'all know, in my previous life, before I started doing content creation, I did commercial real estate. I was in property management.
Oh.
So apparently, there's a restaurant that Ilhan Omar is very connected to. She's, in fact, somehow she's got a lot of contributions from this restaurant and everything. And it's in the front, and right next door, like right on the side of the building, is the daycare. Now, understanding what I know in commercial real estate, you can't have a grease trap, fire, stove, and all that next to a children daycare. You can't do that. That's illegal. You can't do that. So now this just being unearthed is crazy to me. And the fact that no one has asked that question, made that statement, made those connections or anything like that, but they're upset with Nick Shirley. You know me, KJ. I got to pull out a scripture. I got to pull out.
Go ahead. Yes, and yes.
Because it takes me to Isaiah 5, verse 20, 21, and then verse 23. Because it says, what sorrow for those who say that evil is good and good is evil, that dark is light and light is dark, that bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. What sorrow for those who are wise in their own eyes and think themselves so clear. And then 23, it says they take bribes to let the wicked go free and they punish the innocent. This literally, to me, is all of them that have been implicit in this. CNN, you are right there in the midst, because instead of you, like, it blows my mind that we are going to attack the person who unearthed the truth instead of the people that are actually doing the crime. Make it make sense. I don't know what world we're living in right now where you don't stop and say, hold on, that's my taxpayer money. Who are these people? This doesn't make sense. Let me go do investigation. But what I realized, honestly, all of those people, those Abby Phillips, those Tiffany Cross, that lady from CNN, what they're all upset about is they're all embarrassed because a 23-year-old young man did the job that they are supposed to be doing, and they didn't do their job, and he showed them up. So the whole world knows that you don't do your job. You just sit there and you say whatever they parrot you and tell you as your little puppet. That's what they do. That's how they speak. So that's what they're upset about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have a few more super chatters coming through here. Let's see. We have Jessica. Happy New Year, Jessica. Mackenzie, we all said hi. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Jessica says, if you want to boycott paying taxes, change your withholding on your W-4 to 0, and no taxes will be taken out of your paychecks. I've had to do it before. Yep, you can always adjust your W-4. You're right, Jessica. Thanks for that. Detroit Steve, thank you for your $5 super chat. He says, fallacious ad hominem. He's not claiming anything really. He simply documented and showed what he experienced. Exactly. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm a hunter. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Saying that she asked nothing but rhetorical questions or idiotic questions when he filmed the whole thing. Absolutely. Yep. Star Wars, you are back. Thank you for joining us tonight with your $5 super chat. Says, and I saw the Obama's oldest daughter is not identifying as a male, or is identifying as a male.
What?
The laws that Barack signed are now coming back to right him and his hind parts. Thank you. Thank you. I've heard some, I don't know, some rumors, I guess, about that. Thank you, Five Fokker, for your $5 super chat. Strong women of America, stay Baltimore strong. Thank you for your super chat. Two White for Coke back again. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Saying, I am an investigative reporter. Is your business real? It is. Well, thank you so much. Bye. I mean, that's how simple it should be. I guess is what you're saying, right? That's how simple it should be. Thank you for that. Kung Fu CJ, you are back again with a $2 super chat. He says, Nicole, you are right on point. Shred. That's right. Miss Helena, for your $5 super chat. None of those buildings were up to code. How was this missed? Well, yeah. Two White for Coke. Thank you for another $2 super chat. He says, preach it, Crystal. That's right. And we have Auto something. I'm not sure. Give me $5 super chat. Says, in Islam, if non-Muslims do not get converted into Islam, non-Muslims have to pay additional tax called the jizya tax. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yep, you're right. Thank you for that. So I'm thank you for all your super chats, everybody. Keep hitting that like, share, and subscribe. Crystal, to your point, like many people are saying, these people are blaming Nick Shirley for all of this fraud. Well, actually, if you think about it, it goes along with the leftist mindset. Leftists a lot of times blame the victims, particularly if the victim is a conservative, or they blame it for again self-defense, things like that. So it kind of goes along in that way, a consistent way, in that sense of the matter. So don't be, people don't get confused by that. Again, this is what leftists do. Those journalists or that woman, Nick Shirley, did her job. The media is the fourth estate. They should be on government like white on rice all the time. That's pretty much their number one mandate, to ensure or to reveal government fraud, waste, abuse, things like that. That's what they should do. But no, they're in the bed, many of them, with the media. So therefore, strange bedfellows and the Americans get screwed. I mean, the media and the government are sleeping together, but the Americans are getting screwed, and we don't have an orgasm for it.
But Shirley, when you think about it, most of the people who are on cable news are politicians. These are people who had NGOs, they ran some kind of nonprofit thing. That's how they got onto CNN and MS Now and all of these things. So it's not, think John Stossel, back in the day, John Stossel showing up on your doorstep, you knew it was going down. He already knew what your mother's maiden name was and everything else, right? No one ever knew that he was a libertarian. We didn't care that he was a libertarian, but we knew that he looked out for the American consumer. And when he got a hold of something, he was like a pit bull with a greasy pork chop. He wasn't letting nothing slide. He was bringing all of them down. But we don't have John Stossels anymore. What we have is the former chairman of this, Black Lives Matter chapter, and then her sister-in-law who ran this other thing. So we don't really have an independent news media. What we have are Democrat operatives who purport to tell us the news. But if you listen, they have no facts. They have a lot of opinion. They have a lot of spin. But when faced with facts, they get very angry. And that's what Scott Jennings is really good at. Scott can sit there and listen to them flap their traps all day long. And then he throws out one fact and he watches their heads explode. It's made him very wealthy for doing it.
Right. And just to go back to what you were saying, Shirley, one of the oldest Marxist tactics is dividing people into identity groups and convincing them their interests are automatically aligned, regardless of the facts. And this is what we see people like Tiffany Cross, Abby Phillips, she's trying to do it a roundabout way, and the rest of these leftists. So they're saying, oh, the Somalis are Black, so you Black Americans need to align with them because the white folks are targeting them. No, they are committing fraud. They are not like me. I don't practice Islam. I don't believe in communism. And I've never been to Africa. I don't know anything about Somali. Okay. I'm more like white people than I am Black Somalis. If you really want to put it in target, the white Christians, I should say. So we're seeing that play out when these political activists in cis communities must stand together in fraud scandals instead of demanding truth and accountability. Folks, particularly Black folks, don't let them play you like that, okay? We have nothing in common with these Somali people, all right? Nothing. We don't, and I'll tell you one thing, poor Black folks definitely have anything in common with them because they're gaming the system and becoming millionaires. Okay,
say that part.
You got to wake up, people, and stop letting them use your skin color, your ethnicity, as some type of blanket kumbaya thing with these people.
Absolutely.
And if you want to put people in some categories, Somalis actually can be put in the immigrant category, more so than the race category. Because growing up here as an immigrant, I had a lot of Somali friends. Because we all kind of come together, when we're new to this country. And I personally knew people who from this DC area, Baltimore area, have moved to Minnesota because And to me back then, I was like, why are they all moving to Minnesota? But it's starting to make sense to me. I think this was like back in like early 2000s when I, was going to school, high school. And because I think even back then, it was already the money laundering, the schemes, have already started, especially in that city. And I've known that these people came from, yes, very harsh, situations, but immediately they were living rent free. They had really big either houses or large apartments where they didn't have to pay anything. They had 10 children. Like each family would have 10 children. Like I'm telling you the truth. And like one family is like a daycare center in itself. It was amazing to see that, really. And their education was paid. A lot of them had their college education was they got financial aid, so they were completely supported by the U.S. government. And I think they just kept exploring these ways to get money from the system, and they're very, very tight knit. They are, as you know, they're electing their politicians in their districts. They're paying their politicians. I don't know if you've seen this, but even the ambassador to the UN from Somalia is a daycare administrator in Ohio.
Yep.
Ohio too, yes. And let me say this, KJ, to your point. Another way to not let them guilt trip you, don't let them play on your emotions about taking care of somebody else's snotty nosed brats. Okay? No. Take care of your own snotty nosed brat. I don't want to take care of your children. I can love children, love babies, think they're cute, but they're yours. You made them. You take care of them. You're not going to put that guilt trip on me. Not only that, the Somali community and many other ethnic communities, they're so close-knit. They have a lot of children. Well, then you should be able to stay home and take care of your children. Y'all should have rotating people, adults, minding all of those damn children, okay? You got however many women, you want to wear your burqas and your hijabs, wear them and take care of your snotty-nosed brats in your own home, 10, 20 of them, as long as there's a couple adults there, which it should be, because you're not working, you should be able to stay home and take care of your little brats. I don't want to take care of them, and you're not going to guilt trip me with that.
Let me tell you something else. Talking about Islam, a lot of these families are polygamous. They also have multiple wives, and each of them will have 10 children. Can you imagine? And so they also do not register that they're married, like legally married. So then these women are all getting assistance as single mothers. It's amazing. They're just living off of our system, and they're either shipping their money, they're buying gigantic houses here, they're shipping their money to Somalia, they're electing politicians. It's incredible because they're leeching on our system. And yes, because they're Muslim, they do feel that they can do that because this is not a Muslim country. It's okay to leech from us. And I mean, their country, Somalia, is a failed state. So they have destroyed their country. Then they have all been shipped here, and now they're destroying this country.
Can I just point out that the scripture says, John 10:10, the thief came to steal, kill, and destroy. And I want people to understand that if you go back to the history, Black Hawk Down, Somalia, and America, and what they did to the American soldiers, I want you to understand there was no love for Americans since back then. I want you to understand that. And they only came here to do exactly what
the money,
what they're supposed to do, which is to steal, kill, and destroy. Destroy America, to steal from Americans, and to kill our society. That's the only thing they came to do. So I want y'all to be very aware of this. And this is why we need to pray for discernment instead of just playing the race card. That is a lazy, weak excuse. The truth of the matter is we're Americans and they're not. That's the only difference. So we need to know the difference and stop saying black, white, so on and so forth, because it's American taxpayer money that's leaving. That's the problem. It is our nation that's being destroyed. They're trying to turn our nation into what their nation is. And that's not going to work for me.
Right. And not only that, but then they're all connected to the Democrat Party. This is what's crazy to me. It's like when what I was reading up on this, they were talking about how they not only do they have these schemes of the assisted livings and the daycares, but then they also are voter registration schemes.
Yeah.
In here.
Yeah.
You know about that. Yeah.
So Scott Pressler discovered some things, and maybe a couple hours ago, Harmeet Dillon, who's number 2 over at DOJ, said she's opening an investigation. She needs answers where a voter would come in with sketchy ID, but Minnesota, they're going to let that person vote. That sketchy person can then vouch for 8 other people with no identification, with no known address. They don't really have anything that kind of ties them to that community to vote there. I don't understand how you can vouch. Oh yeah, this is my cousin Tommy. That one right there is my cousin Yana, on my daddy's side, and Shirley's on my mom. I mean, how does that work? As someone who's a former election chief, yeah, okay, I'm gonna need you and your cousins to all stand outside. The police are coming for you. And then you can explain it to a judge tomorrow morning. You're not even going to get a provisional ballot. I just need you away from us. There is so much fraud that has happened in our voter system across the nation. But since we're shining the light, let's scare all the roaches. Let's just pull the Band-Aid off and see what we got cooking down deep in this festering blister called Minnesota. This thing has been endemic for a while. This is not new. But here's the problem that I personally have with all this. Fraud. I hate fraud. As a taxpayer, as someone who has to literally write them assholes a check, I'm very unhappy, right? But what makes me even sadder is the amount of Americans who are not as angry as I am.
Right.
Who are apathetic, going, well, at some point, I need Americans to find that thing that used to unite us, right? This nationalism that Democrats think is a dirty word. Don't fool around and be a Christian nationalist. I mean, they have you burning crosses in your backyard, right? All of this to say, the thing that made us really, really great as a nation was that at some point that we all got so offended that we would rally together and we would bring the world to heel. Think 9/11. You know how we always say September 11th every year, we never forget. Hell, New York has forgotten.
Yes.
New York has long time forgotten, and the rest of the country has forgotten. What will it take for America to stand up? Usually it's when people hit us in our pocketbook or harm our children. So here we have these children being harmed because they're not getting the services. They're not getting the things that this money is supposed to pay for. And these people are ripping us off. If that doesn't make your American blood boil, I don't know what will. I just don't understand how people are like, turn a blind eye. It's just a couple of $1 billion. Minnesota's worth it. At this point, I'm ready to go over there with a shovel and dig up the road to get my tax money back. I have had it with these people. I have had it with the people making excuses for them. I have had it with our do nothing Congress. I have had it with people who are like, oh, we'll get to it when we get to it. This is an emergency. Our house is on fire and you all are roasting damn hot dogs. What the hell? Stand up, America.
Absolutely.
I can't sleep. I haven't been able to sleep at night. I've been thinking, like, goodness, these people are making millions of dollars of our taxpayers' money. Do you all understand this?
Yeah.
We are out here working, and they're taking all our money, half of our paychecks and taxes. And these people who aren't even American are out here milking the system and defrauding it. Defrauding
Absolutely
our money. It's not like they're taking our money. They're using. I have not been able to sleep well at night, folks. And billions of dollars, like somebody just said, billions. People have to wake up. I am not aligned with these people at all, folks. I mean, I'm thinking maybe we need to bring the Klan back. I'd rather have a hooded Klan than a hooded Somali out here right now.
No, I've always said I can live next to a Klan as long as I can get into my house and my property. He can live next door and burn.
I'm joking about that.
I don't care. But I want want to know one thing too. Why is the Somalian community? Why is their autism so high? Is it possibly because they're inbreeding? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, they look just alike. I can't tell one
questions
from the other.
I'm just asking questions.
The reason why their level of autism is high is because it gets you a premium payment from the state of Minnesota. That's
That
why everybody's autistic.
But
That is
KJ,
why everybody's autistic.
Absolutely.
Well, how can I act? What do I got to do to act autistic?
First of all, we're gonna open up the Pop and Politics daycare center, and we're gonna put smash dead in Minneapolis. Now,
and no snotty nose brats.
You're gonna run the place, right? And once every 3 years, one of us is going to show up and slam a door in somebody's face. We'll split the millions between us. This is ridiculous, and this is what I'm talking about. It's not. All of these things are horrible, but then they're on the internet literally laughing in our faces. I don't know what happened to America when we got so soft, because hear me out, 1980s American, we'd be taking our earrings off, snatching a ponytail, slapping every Somali we see. This is outrageous. And if this is not a reason for our Congress, and I get that everybody's running for election, I hear y'all on that, right? But this would be the point. If I was on the bubble about you and you were the first person that came out and said, you know what, Minnesota's going to have to answer to me because that's some of my people's money, I would say, okay, now I'm rocking with you on this America First thing, right? Being a good American should supersede all this DNR stuff. Preserving our nation, our way of life, and our culture. I don't want people who are having a hard time, Americans who are having a hard time feeding their children, people who are trying to get back into the workforce needing childcare. I don't want that taken away from them because of this Somali fraud. I want the Somalis the hell out of the country so we don't have to worry about the Somali fraud. We need to make sure that our culture stays intact while we fight off these heathens that for some godforsaken reason we brought into this nation.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Every family, every person who is struggling in America should be outraged that these people are taking money. They, like I said earlier, if you have a kid and you're trying to enroll your kid into a government, subsidized daycare, and you're not able to do that because it's a wait list, they're the reason, because they're taking all the money and there's no spaces for people who are actually struggling to pay their bills, to pay for their childcare. And as an immigrant, I'm going to say the United States government should investigate every immigrant community in this country.
Absolutely.
The same way that they're investigating the Somalis, they should look into every other very tight-knit, any place where people do not speak English, any place where there's all these kind of shady businesses and practices going on. I know there's Medicaid and Medicare fraud in New York. It's every immigrant knows about it in the immigrant community. There are lawyers that will say, I will set up, Medicaid or Medicare for you regardless of your income. And they literally advertising it in their newspapers. It's out in the open. And all of this should be investigated.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Well, again, we got a few super chatters that are coming through, and while they are coming, we have Carl Martin. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Thanks, Carl. S. Dresden, thank you for your $20 super chat. Says Jesus Christ is Emperor. Thank you for that. I know I'm butchering this name. I'm just going to say S. Autos. Thank you for your $10 super chat again. And he says, now when these people come from the Islamic country, on day one, they start getting welfare. So according to their religion, this welfare is an indirect jizya tax on our Christian country. Absolutely. Too white for Coke. Thank you for your $1 super chat. We love it. Jay Nito, for your $10 super chat. Islamists are very, very tribal. They will stick together like nobody else. If we Christians want to keep the West and our Western civilization, we must use the same tactic: Christian unity. Thank you for that. Big Paulie, thank you for your $2 super chat. Says they rely on low-key voters. Thank you.
That's true.
Too white for Coke for your $5 super chat. Somalians say they are not black, they are Egyptians. Whatever. I'm from the line of the Queen of Sheba. So what? Carl Martin, they don't need to be here stealing our money. Carl Martin, thank you for your $2 super chat. Big Paulie again, thank you for your $2 super chat. He
you.
says they rely on low IQ voters. That's why they love him. Yep, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yo, it's Eric. Thank you for your $2 super chat. He says, no, we need to look at California. They are way worse.
Wow.
For
It's
sure.
all over the country, every
For
state.
sure.
Paul Carrick, thank you for your $20 super chat.
Hey, Paul.
There's nothing more pleasant than listening to beautiful, smart, conservative ladies. Thank you. Again,
you.
they're all over. It's all over the country. Medicare, Medicaid, USDA fraud, top of the list.
NGOs.
Yes. Kimberly, thank you for being a member of our Freedom Club here. Thank you. She says she got her unapologetically American shirt today. Take a picture, Kimberly. Take a picture, send it to us so we can announce you on our chats. Take a picture and don't forget to send it in. Brown eyes, hi. My brown eyes were going blue because I haven't talked to you. Thank you for your $20 super chat. She says, hey ladies, California has much more fraud. Yeah.
Wow.
Big Paulie again, thank you for your $2 super chat. Says we are a legit daycare. Laura, thank you for your $2 super chat. She says, welcome to Poppin' Politics Daycare. That's right, where there are no snotty nose brats. Thank you, Chisenham. Thank you for your $5 super chat.
Christina.
Kung Fu CJ is back again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kung Fu, for also being a moderator and a member of our Freedom Club. Thank you for your $5 super chat. And he has a YouTube link there, which is a link to his video on paying taxes.
Okay.
All right. I'm a Hunter. Thank you for a $20 super chat. Thanks for coming back. We need a countrywide reboot. Absolutely. Bring everything to a halt. Absolutely. Declare state of emergency. Send the soldiers in every state. Hold a nationwide special election and crack down on the fraud at the polls. I am sick of it. Get them out. Yes, absolutely. Chistenham is back. Thank you for your $2 super chat. Happy New Year, ladies.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Christina.
It's Eric is back again. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Says no immigrant should get any government assistance. Only Americans. Americans only should get it. I don't care where they are from. They should have no position of power as well and shouldn't be able to vote. You are singing my song. Thank you, yo. Absolutely. It's Eric. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, you all, for those super chats, those donations. Again, keep hitting that like, share, and subscribe button. Get it up, get it out, get it out. We still have a few more of you need to hit that like button because we are like neck and neck with the viewership and with the likes. So hit that button and make it even. Before I hand it back to KJ, I do want to say this, KJ, to your last point about how we're working. I mentioned before, again, this is according to the Tax Foundation and the John Locke Foundation. And not just this year, not just last year, even a few years ago. Americans are working about 5 to 6 months a year. So 5 to 6 months a year, you're just working to pay taxes. We're just working to pay taxes. And just think of that. So 5 to 6 months of a year, our taxes are going to billions and billions, trillions if you go nationwide of fraud. And what do we have to do? Well, it's 2026. April 15th will be here soon enough. How many of you all are mad yet?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another, we got a Cash App. Folks, that's another great way to support us from Rob, the $5 Cash App. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Yes, indeed. Well, folks, we wanted to bring this to you. We wanted to let you know, we wanted to really break down this story, kind of again, talk about the difference between feeding our future and the child care fraud. Again, different programs, same corrupt ecosystem. We wanted to break it down. I hope we did that in a powerful way. News out, I believe, within the last couple of days, talking about how investigators froze childcare funding after these videos revealed vacant facilities, many Somali-owned, collecting huge sums from programs like Medicaid and assisted living. So they've frozen the funding. The probe builds on the 2022 Feeding Our Future scandal, again, as we mentioned. So local leaders are urging unity as reactions divide, with some defending legitimate centers hit by vandalism. So now you got these local leaders out here. I don't know if you saw a couple of the press conferences crying, whining, and saying, they are being targeted unfairly. So We will see. I can't tell anybody apart. Male, female, man or child. All of them look the same to me. So
I don't know, KJ. I don't know about that one. So if somebody's breaking into your child care center and bypassing the TV,
oh, you talking about that? Mm-hmm.
Bypassing all the things and just going directly to your check-in and check-out paperwork, it just smacks of, I don't know. I guess they could sell that in Minnesota because they sold the actual fake daycare centers to Minnesotans. So this should not be a big stretch either.
They are so obvious. I mean, those reports of the break-in and how they came in somehow through the wall and they took their files, like who was in the daycare, like the kids' files and some textbooks. Like, what?
But left the computers and the laptops, left all the electronics. Let's not.
I mean, it never existed. Those files never existed. That's where they're gone. Mm-hmm. And then this other place, we're open 2 to 10 p.m. Like, and then the thing is that then they call all of their people in the community and they start bringing in the kids. And they go like, I bring my kids here at 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
I mean, I don't understand why didn't they just say, you know what? Why don't y'all come in and let me show you what this daycare looks like? Because they know there was nothing in there. The kids must have hung out in the hallway until the cameras left, and then they were like, okay, y'all can go home.
Right. And I wonder, the kids are probably so confused. They're like, what are we doing here? Like, I wish somebody would just ask the kids something like, have you been here before? Like, what is in there? And they're like, I see the kids are like looking around like, why am I being dragged into this place?
Right. They've never been there before. They're looking around like, what is this place? It's ridiculous. But again, we have to do something productive. It's one thing just to be like kind of angry and shake your fist at the moon, but at some point, the people that we've elected to represent us have really got to put their foot in somebody's hind parts, as we like to say, to make this thing it's never going to be okay because we're never going to get our money back, but show us that you're at least trying to do something instead of letting, as they would like to call it, a random YouTuber outshine the entirety of American media.
Yeah.
But I think I just feel like at this point, Democrats have no problem dragging in J6ers, President Trump, Giuliani into courts, handcuffing them, doing all the things. I want our people to go ahead and be like, listen, now that we have evidence, we have everything, arrest, not just arrest. I need you arrested and serving time. I need you to serve the time of all the money that you've stolen from all of us. Just all of, and anyone that is of that became a citizen during that time up there, and you are part of that fraud, and you are out there saying death to America and all these other things. I don't know why we're being nice. Just go ahead and snatch that citizenship and deport them back. Like, this shouldn't be. We will consider it, because I heard Marco Rubio saying we'll consider revoking their citizenship. Don't consider it. Just do it, because I think all of us in America feel like, no, you don't belong here, and if you hate here so much, go home, please.
Absolutely. Folks, that is Crystal Beyond Labels right here on YouTube. You got to check her page out here. She was back with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Crystal.
Thank you for having me. I love you ladies. You all get me real fired up.
Yes, we do. And I know we got a couple more super chats. Shirley, can you read those?
All right. We have Patricia Wood. Thank you. She is she just became a YouTube member. Thank you, Patricia. Bernie, Happy New Year, Bernie. Thank you for your $10 super chat. It says, hi, lovely ladies. Happy New Year. I had to reboot here, so hopefully I got through. Bernie, you can always go back and watch it again. And I think we just had this chat coming through again twice. But Happy New Year, everybody. We have another super chat coming in right now from Big Paulie. For your $2. Thank you, Big Paulie. He says, what if this was a Nigerian princess, I guess? Is that what you're saying? Look, I don't care. Nigerians in Africa, these are the United States. That's it. That's all we need to know. So, but thank you all so much for your super chats. It's a new year. Look, we have a country to save. We need to take a stand. If it means that we don't pay our taxes until all this BS gets straightened out, then that's the case. They have plenty of our money already in the pot. So no, they don't need any more. We don't have to keep feeding this black hole. But nevertheless, we thank you all for being here with us. Thank you for your donations, your comments. We love them. Remember, if you took a picture or if it's some merchandise, send it in and we will gladly showcase it. We have Eclectic Deb. I like that. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Says, I guarantee there are homes that can be seized to recover taxpayer funds.
That part, Deb. That
Let's
part.
do it. Let's do it. And Jessica, thank you, Jessica, again. She just gifted a Poppin' Politics membership.
Wow.
Happy New Year.
That is so kind. That is
Absolutely. Well, folks, this is our Friday Night Live. We will be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Again, going over the latest in news and pop culture from a conservative perspective. If this is your first time here, please hit that like button. That helps to tell YouTube to push this video out in front of a wider audience. And subscribe, folks. We are smart, edgy, and conservative. So if that's you, or if that's one of those things, or you're in the right place. We are all together here as patriots, as God-fearing, truth-loving, God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom, folks. And please, if you are a praying person, let's keep Nick Shirley lifted up in prayer, folks.
Amen.
They are coming after him, or at least trying to. This is a nice young man. We actually met him at AmFest, and we met his mom. He's a nice guy, Christian, Bible-believing young man. And so we want to keep him lifted up in prayer because he is doing hard stuff. He is doing the hard stuff and trying to expose these people. He didn't create this problem. He is exposing it. And when truth comes from outside the system panics. We don't owe loyalty to narratives, folks. We owe loyalty to facts, and we're not backing down. So again, join us in this movement. We will be back on Monday. Until then, you can check out Just the Guys podcast. They're tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Just the Guys podcast. They are going to bring you all the latest developments all over the country. The left is putting in new policies, new agendas for 2026 that is affecting us all in a negative way. They're going to go over many of those policies. Then you can catch me on Sunday on KJ Christian Conservative, me and Michelle, where we provide news and pop culture from a biblical perspective. And we have on with us Patrick O'Brien from Philippians 1:8, I believe, 18. And so he is going to talk about Catholicism, praying the rosary, and so many other things, praying to saints. So definitely check me out at KJ Christian Conservative on Sunday at 9 p.m. All right.
Well, KJ, I'm sorry. We have one more that's going to take us out. Speak Your Voice is for your $2 super chat. She says she's tired of the small fish. She wants Tim Walz in cuffs. Don't we all? We have a new YouTube member. Thank you again, XJSSTS. Thank you for that. And as KJ said, good night, everybody. We'll see you on tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday.
Good night.
Right.